Okay, we're live. The meeting is yours, Mr. Supervisor. Let
Thank
me
you,
know if
everyone. I'd like to call tonight's meeting of the regular board meeting of March 18th, March 16th. I'm not trying to speed the week up anymore. 2021 is 7 p.m. It is an electronic meeting. Note, this meeting will be held electronically as authorized under the Open Meetings Act, Public Act 267 of 1976 as amended. Members of the public body and members of the public may participate electronically as identified on our website and posted throughout our township. And with that, I would like to call for a pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance.
I pledge
To
allegiance
the flag
flag
of the United States of America and
To
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, for remotely doing that. Mr. Clerk, can you do a roll call, please?
Supervisor Kowal,
Here.
Clerk Noble here, Treasurer Roman,
Here
in White Lake.
in White Lake.
In White Lake Township. Thank you, Mr. Powell.
Clerk Noble, White Lake Township. Treasurer Roman here, Trustee Ruggles. Trustee Ruggles. Okay, moving on. Absent. Trustee Smith,
present, White Lake Township.
Trustee Voorhees,
Present, White Lake Township.
and Trustee Powell.
Present, White Lake Township.
Very good. Okay, I am looking to approve the agenda with the addition of 9H, which will be the Deputy Treasurer's position discussion and resolution. Looking for a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve that agenda.
I have a motion to approve from Anthony Noble. Looking for support.
Support.
Here, we'll support
I
that.
have support from Mike Powell. Roll call vote, Mr. Noble?
Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles absent. Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Next item is item number 5. Item number 5 is public comment. I see that we have many people in the wings. Be advised, individuals that are out there, if you are here for any one of the public hearings that we are having tonight, that would be the proper time for you to speak. Again, proper time for you to speak if it's a subject matter at the public hearing would be that time. Otherwise, if you have something that you like to address the board or speak your piece, you will have 3 minutes to do so. You will have to state your name and you will have to state your name and address for the record. So that being said, I will turn it over to you, Brian.
Okay, if any of the callers would like to make a comment, press *9 on your keypad. That will raise your hand, and then we will call on you. No hands raised at the moment. We'll give it a minute here. *9 to raise your hand to make a comment. Okay, no hands raised.
That being said, I will close public comment and I will move on to item 6. Consent agenda. Consent agenda is a list of revenue expenses, check disbursements, budget amendments.
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
someone just raised their hand,
Oh, yeah.
number ending in 2555.
I do not see that on my screen, but that does not mean it is not there. Brian?
Yes, we have one caller, 2555, with their
We
hand
will
raised.
regress and go back to public comment. That individual may speak.
Okay, press *5 on your key, *6 on your keypad, 2555. That will unmute and then say your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Jessica Salden and my address is 10701 Oxbow Heights Drive in White Lake, Michigan. And the comment that I have is I'm new to this area. We moved at the end of September in 2020 from the Grosse Pointe area, which is full of sidewalks and, downtown walkable shopping area. And like moving to White Lake is a little bit different. We love the area, but we're like, we're kind of seeking some sidewalk improvements right off of our neighborhood. And I recently listened to the Parks and Rec video on YouTube, which is the reason why I'm calling tonight to this board meeting. I just want to share my support of Stanley Park and the Triangle. I forget the technical
Triangle
term
Trail.
for the Triangle Trail. Looking forward to that since Tegredine is right off of my neighborhood. It's just so valuable to be able to bike ride wherever you want. And I understand that we're only working with so much real estate with the roads and the properties alongside the roads. But anyway, I support sidewalks in the community and further park development and like walkable retail store development. Thank you so much for letting me comment.
Thank you very much for your input. We'd love to talk to you. Give my office a call.
Welcome to
Thank
White
you so
Lake.
much.
Yep.
Welcome to
Thank you.
White
You're
Lake,
welcome.
please.
Thank
Okay, any
you.
other
White
public,
Lake.
any other public comment?
Again, press star 9 on your keypad to raise your hand.
I see no one else.
Okay, now,
No
seeing
hands
none at this time, we will close public comment and we will move on. Okay, we are moving to consent agenda. Consent agenda is a list of revenue and expenses. Check disbursements, budget amendments, department reports, and a variety of other activities throughout the township. Any questions from any of the board members at this time on the consent agenda?
I also saw Mr. Roman's hand up.
Mr. Roman?
Oh, yeah, no, I know, there's been some confusion about protocol, about what can and cannot be discussed and timing of discussion on consent items. So, I know, Liz, you wanted to, discuss opportunities and how the public can get involved.
So I'd like to make a motion actually to pull out of consent agenda, excuse me, the consent agenda E2.
Okay, and why is that?
Well, I'd like to make a motion, pull that out. So I believe I have a second. I asked for a second then from my colleagues.
I'll support that, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay, motion support. Roll call vote?
Supervisor Kowal,
No.
Clerk Noble, no. Treasurer Roman,
I'm a yes.
Trustee Ruggles absent, Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
Yes,
Motion carries. We will pull the section 2 out. Back to consent agenda. We'll do consent agenda at this time. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Motion to approve consent agenda as amended.
Support.
A motion from Mike Roman to approve the consent agenda as amended. Looking for support.
Support.
I shall support. Roll
Can you not hear?
call vote, please.
Can you repeat that, Supervisor Kowal? You broke up.
Mr. Noble? I said, I did second that and Liz came in after me, but I seconded. So go ahead. Roll call vote?
Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles is absent, Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
yes.
Motion carries. Okay, conversation about Parks and Recreation Committee reappointment and Zoning Board of Appeals. Those positions are authorized by the Supervisor's Office through the MTA guidelines and operations throughout the township that are generally available to persons that have an interest and can add benefit to the community. Generally, members who are people who have lived throughout our community for some period of time, and some people that are new coming in that may have an area of expertise and may be able to add to the benefit of the community. Those decisions are solely the decisions of the supervisor and the supervisor's office and put forward by recommendations through a variety of departments, whether it be the planning commission, Parks and Rec, Zoning Board of Appeals, or any other committee that may be created or not. The individuals that are responsible for the direction of those committees and the assembly of those committees will make recommendations to the supervisor's office if indeed the supervisor is not familiar with those individuals. And then that will be brought forth to the township board, whether it is an open conversation like this or it is under consent agenda for appointment. Any other further comments or questions from the board? Liz Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. So actually, I need to make a correction for MTA. The only, just for correction purposes, this isn't the topic I'd like to speak on this evening, but for correction purposes, the only appointment that the supervisor's office has sole discretion over, authority over, is Planning Commission, not Parks and Rec and Zone CBA. But I want to thank you all, my colleagues, for having some discussion on this, because it just got me thinking. We have so many residents that are interested in being involved in our community. I'm approached all the time on how can I get involved. I want to serve, but maybe they don't want to serve in an elected position, but they're really interested in getting involved in the community. So I wanted to take this opportunity to discuss policy. I did check that out through MTA, and this is the appropriate time to discuss policy. So what I was hoping was that we could, moving forward, establish some kind of awareness to our community and residents if these positions are open or available for appointment. We seem to be, although I'm very appreciative and I want to thank all of the members that have served and currently serving on these boards and commissions for their time and volunteerism, we seem to be on a merry-go-round, and we reappoint the same people over and over, and several people are on multiple committees. And I want to open it up to the public and give opportunity for other people to get involved and get plugged in. I am not in any way, shape, or form going against these appointments. I would be in favor of reappointing Mary Carlack to Parks and Rec, but I'd like to take the opportunity, because we don't necessarily need to appoint an alternate to the ZBA at this moment. We have a current active alternate, and they've been having a consistent attendance in their board meetings, and I've checked with our liaison, Mr. Powell, to the ZBA, and I've spoken with other ZBA members. So that's not urgent that is replaced at this time. So I'd just like to open it up to the public and have a pool of candidates and really give our residents, we have 30-some thousand residents, the opportunity to get more involved and get plugged in and give them time to apply and come back to our board, where we have a selection of residents to plug in and serve in our community where they'd like to. So that's what I want to discuss. Moving forward, a policy maybe where we can make the public more aware of opportunity where they can get involved. And we only have a few.
And we do put it out there on a variety of different medias when things are available. And we base it on the applicants and persons who have.
Yeah, so we actually don't have a policy on it though. So I just want to bring forward to the attention to my colleagues that in the future, I'd like to have an agenda item that we could talk about a policy of opening up these positions to a broader scope of people. We have several, like I said, we have several people serving on multiple boards, but I'm appreciative of their time. It's nothing personal to them. We just want to open it up to more. And like, for example, the Parks and Rec, their bylaws state that they could have 9 on it, and we only have 6 serving. So I'd love to see 3 more people be able to get plugged in and have a chance on Parks and Rec, since we have so many exciting things happening in Parks and Rec, things like that.
Supervisor Kowal.
Yes, sir.
Taking that in consideration with Kathy DeRozier's new position, as it's outlined, as far as being a policymaker, that you and I had looked at earlier this week. That's something that I think that we could have her kind of check out, maybe possibly.
Yes, we could.
Yeah,
Yes,
that would be a great option. Thank you.
Very good.
And
Okay.
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes, Mr. Powell.
I supported that for a couple of reasons. First of all, you have reminded us over and over that we're not allowed to talk about anything at all on the consent agenda unless we pull it off. So I specifically wanted it pulled off so we could talk about this specific topic and maybe these appointments. And then you had mentioned, Mr. Supervisor, that you utilize every source you can to identify those interested. Can you let us know what advertisements you put out to select who might be
Well,
interested
let's
in
see,
these
we
positions?
call CNN, Fox Network, and NC and SBC, and we put it out there. Mike, you know as well as I do.
You'd
in a
appreciate
small-
an
In a
honest
small
answer.
community, we take and put out there that through the committees that we have, persons of interest and go out. We also put it out periodically on our website when we have things available. Of course, right now we're in the midst of rearranging that. We've always welcomed a cross-section of persons into our committees. We've had people that have just moved into the community. There's a gentleman who lives off Doe Lane. I can't think of his name right now. He was a new attorney that moved into the area and expressed an interest in getting on board the Planning Commission. And his name escapes me at the moment, Sean, and I beg your pardon. But the gentleman wanted to move forward and get involved, and we had an opportunity and we put him on there. So we try to make it known. We'll try to make it broadcast a little bit further than that. It isn't necessarily going to go into a newspaper, but I believe with our social media platforms that we have, we can put it out there and then make some decisions. I will review the policy. It's still my understanding, as it has been throughout the entire history of White Lake Township, that these appointments are reviewed and approved by the supervisor's office upon the recommendation of the various departments that make those recommendations. So I still stand on that as precedent, of which has been done for historically, and I will review that and see where it goes. And as Clerk Noble said, we will approach our HR director, who has been approved by the board to create policy, to review this and take a look at it.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. It's a great opportunity just to get our residents another chance to get involved and plugged in. And that's all the discussion I wanted to have about it. But I do want you to double check your facts on with MTA that the supervisor just has.
I most certainly will. And again, it's precedent that the township has done things that way since the beginning of dirt.
Well, it doesn't mean it's
So,
right.
It may not be, but that is how it has been done. I would, at this time though, I would like to approve those particular appointments, Mary Carlock and Kathleen Asseltine. And I would like to make a motion to approve those particular appointments to the Park and Recreation Committee and the Board of Appeals Alternate Committee at this time. And I will make that in the form of the motion, looking for support.
You will support that as your Parks and Rec liaison.
I have motion, I have support. Mr. Noble, roll call vote.
Rick, I'm sorry to interrupt, but don't forget that Kathy Gordonier had hers in there as well. And I don't know if you pulled all of them off, but you need to mention that as well.
We did. I just asked
No,
for
those were
E2.
the only two that were in.
Okay,
question.
sorry. Okay,
Yeah, the
thanks. I didn't
senior
have the-
advice. I'm sorry, Trish, talk over you. I didn't mean to. The E1 is the senior advisory. So
Okay,
that
I didn't
wasn't-
have the agenda. Sorry, just want to make sure.
Okay, we have a motion, we have support. Mr. Noble, roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Colwell,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles is absent. Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
Yes. And I look forward to, I think they're both excellent representatives, and I'm looking forward to working with each one of them again.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, motion carries. Moving on to item 7, I'm going to bunch the minutes together. Minutes A, B, C, and D. Special joint meeting of the Parks and Rec Committee of February 10th. Approval of the minutes of regular board meeting of February 16th. Approval of the minutes of the joint special board meeting of the Civic Center Development Committee of February 22nd. And approval of the minutes of the joint special board meeting with the Civic Center Development Committee February 23rd. I will bundle those together for a motion for approval. Mr. Roman,
Support.
I have motion, I have support. Did I see a hand? Liz Smith.
I'm sorry, I'm muted. I was asking for discussion. Clerk Noble, I sent you some corrections. So are these are
Correct.
improvements amended as of like 5:30 today?
Yes, we've been working
Okay.
feverishly on it since
know,
everybody
it-
left. I've been here, and I want to thank everybody for giving me their input. As you know, I feel my deputy clerk is, we've had a lot of meetings, and being new,
Right.
He's
Yeah, it's
actually,
unusual that we have so many.
yeah, he actually came in on Saturday on his own time to correct a few of those minutes. And Trustee Powell reached out to me today along with you, and I want to appreciate you guys for pointing that out. We try to maintain a stellar record, but there's always room for improvement, and we're working on that. Thank you.
Thank you. So would you like us to make a record today with those corrections, or we're assuming that those are corrected and we're voting on?
We are working on it. I corrected, I sent an email out to Trustee Powell, the correction, sir. Trustee Powell, did you receive those, and was that up to your standards, sir?
I did, and they are. Thank you. And an excellent job.
And right now, Trustee Smith, I have Deputy Clerk Santiago working on yours as we speak. We're working diligently. Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion, we have support. Support as noted, motion as noted. Mr. Noble, roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles is absent. Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. All right, everyone. We're going to go to our favorite things, which is public hearings. And at this time, I'm going to remind the board that in this public hearing, that is just what it is a public hearing. It's not a board hearing. So therefore, comments should be withheld from the board until there's time and discussion for the resolution. So at this time, I am going to open the public hearing to confirm the special assessment role for the Twin Lakes Village Road Paving Improvement Special Assessment District. That is in the form of a motion, looking for support.
Or
I have support from Mike Roman to open the public hearing to confirm the special assessment role for the Twin Lakes Village Paving Improvement Special Assessment District. Mr. Noble, roll call vote.
Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman,
yes.
Trustee Ruggles is absent. Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees, Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
and Trustee Powell.
Yes.
Okay, we have now opened a public hearing. At this time, if you are a member of the public at large, or you have an interest in the hearing to confirm the assessment role for the Twin Lakes Village Road Paving Improvement Special Assessment District, now would be your opportunity to speak your piece. Again, it is public comment, not debate. So at this time, if you have something to say regarding that matter, and I will turn it over to Brian.
Yes, press *9 on your keypad to raise your hand, and then we will call on you. Members of the public who've called into the meeting. Okay, we have one hand raised, and that is 6548 are the last four numbers. Press *6 on your keypad, 6548, and that will unmute you, and then say your name and address for the record. 6548, do we have you? Okay, let's go on to 8076.
Hello?
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, 654.
No, I'm 8076.
Oh, 8076. Okay. Go ahead with your name and address.
Okay, I am Natalie DeLeo, 9150 Huron Bluffs Drive, White Lake.
State
Still okay
your comment.
Okay, I just want to thank the board for doing this for our community and for our subdivision. Being somewhat in the business of financing, I know that it is unusual to do something like this and be able to, allow us to do this paving assessment. and do that accordingly. And I just want to thank everybody for putting their time in to accommodate the Twin Lakes Village subdivision.
Thank you for your comment. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Anyone else at this time?
We still have 6548 with their hand raised. Again, press *6 on your keypad to unmute. Okay, caller, it looks like you're unmuted. Possibly a problem with their handset. Go ahead and speak, 6548. Okay, looks like they're having a problem.
Technology.
Yeah, no other hands are raised.
We will wait just a moment in case another hand comes up. We have
Okay.
5600. Did that pop up?
Yes, actually, we've got two. So 5600, you can go first. Press *6 to unmute, and then say your name and address for the record.
My name is Matt Kobliska. My address is 280 View Drive. I also would like to thank our local governance for putting in the hard work that was necessary to get us to this point. And I think our roads are at the point of coming due, and it's only going to get more expensive as time goes on. So I'm very much in favor of this. I think it is important for resale value of the homes and just the general living conditions in the neighborhood. I do appreciate the time to comment. Thank you.
Okay, and 1801 is next. Press *6 on your keypad to unmute. 1801 are the last four. State your name and address for the record, please. Okay, 1801, it looks like you are unmuted. Go ahead and speak.
Yep, sorry, I had my phone also on mute. This is Amy Turnen. I'm at 9020 Huron Bluffs Drive in White Lake. And yeah, I appreciate all the work that the committee has done. It is a sizable amount, and I don't know if I can ask a question, or maybe this can just turn into a comment, but it's a sizable amount that's being assessed, almost $2 million. I don't know, when you guys were looking at this cost, if it was provided with 3 bids, or was it just one company that the board here at White Lake, or Twin Lakes, approved?
Again, this is public comment, and those types of things would be probably have been turned into and reviewed with your homeowners association, which turned the bids into us. But I would say generally there are multiple bids done. And I will say that the company that was selected is probably one of the best companies to do that.
Okay, that's what I needed, just to hear another opinion on it, to make certain that we are getting the good company, because honestly, my comment would be then that the other half of the subdivision, because it's divided in 2, was also repaved, and quite frankly, the roads aren't all that great, and it was just recently, within the last, I think, 5 years that they did it. So I just want to make certain that we're expending this money, that it actually is going to look just as good 5 years down the road. So that's my comment, but thank you.
Thank you for the public comment. Thank you very much. Okay.
Mr. Supervisor, if I may.
You may.
This is a public hearing to confirm the assessment role. If anybody who wants to object to the assessment, this is where they do it, or they may lose they will lose their opportunity to appeal it if they choose to in the future. So this is the time to allow the discussion about the assessment and allow individuals to object to the assessment and voice.
Absolutely, and that's where we're letting the public comment. Okay, proceed. Anyone else out there, Brian?
6548 still has their hand raised, and I guess we'll give them another chance to unmute. Again, it's *6 on your keypad to unmute. Perhaps your phone app is muted. That's something else to check. Okay, it looks like they're toggling on and off. So
Yeah, I don't know what to tell them.
yeah, they're close.
Unfortunately. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. there you
Hello?
go.
Okay, great. So my name is Denise De Benedetti. My address is 9060 Huron Bluff Drive. And although I appreciate the efforts that have gone into putting together the home improvement program from a homeowner's perspective, I've lived in White Lake less than 2 years. My property taxes are over $12,000 a year. And quite frankly, I don't really see that the roads are in that bad of a condition versus, adding another $1,000 a year to the value of my property taxes. So I don't see the value of it, and I feel the taxes are very high right now, and certainly do oppose, them increasing even more.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, again, we're looking for things that'll be put out here in the public hearing, whatever has to be said. Anyone else that has any comments in the public hearing at this time?
No hands are raised. Again,
Okay.
press *9 to raise your hand. I guess we'll give them one more chance.
Public hearing.
Okay, no hands raised. Mr.
We do
There's
have
one
one hand.
hand. Yeah, one hand raised.
Oh, there. Oh,
1801.
Yep.
okay. Press.
From 9060 Huron Bluff.
Yes, hi, it's Amy at 9020 Huron Bluff. I totally agree with my neighbor who just spoke, and I encourage her to file some type of objection through the board to maybe put a stop to this, because I couldn't agree more. The taxes are outrageous, and I don't know if this is the year after coming off a pandemic to do it. So I encourage you, my dear neighbor, to act on that. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Okay. Your public hearing input here, as we'll call it, public comment, public hearing. It's public input at the public hearing. Okay, anyone else?
Yes, we have one more caller, 8501. Press *6 on your keypad to unmute, and then say your name and address for the record.
Hi, this is Jim Smith. I'm at 9681 Steep Hollow Drive in White Lake. And I just want to state my agreement with the last two callers on this. I think the way that this was kind of pushed through our neighborhood, where we didn't, because of COVID, I guess, it didn't have the ability to have everybody to get together to discuss this in a public forum. And so it kind of went through in, I thought, kind of a strange way. For people, I don't see a big problem with the roads yet, and most of the people I know are saying the same thing, but it's gone through somehow.
Very good. Thank you for your input. Anyone else at this time? 30-second countdown.
Okay, no hands raised.
No additional hands being raised at this time. I will make a motion to close the public hearing on the hearing to confirm the assessment roll for the Twin Lakes Village Road Paving Improvement Special Assessment District. That is in the form of a motion, looking for support.
Mr. Supervisor, before, under discussion, is this the time that we should discuss some of the issues that came up at the public hearing, or should we wait until this is up on our regular agenda?
I would say we should discuss that when it comes to the resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Kowal.
Just one moment, Mr. Noble. I made the motion. I have support from trustee Smith. Yes, Mr. Noble.
When you're ready, I do have one letter that came in yesterday evening, brief, two-sentence letter regarding this.
Please disclose.
This comes in from parcel ID Y is in yellow -12-23-427-001. It says, to whom it may concern, as an owner of the parcel ID noted above, this letter is to inform you that I object to the special assessment roll for all the costs of said road improvements as filed in this office, in the office of the township clerk. And sincerely, Diana Gustafson. It's spelled Gustafson.
Thank you. Anything further? Seeing none further, we have motion, we have support, roll call vote to close public hearing.
Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles is absent. Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees. Trustee Voorhees
Sorry, I muted myself. Yes.
and Trustee Powell.
Yes.
This moment, public hearing is closed on the hearing to confirm the assessment roll for the Twin Lakes Village Road Paving Improvement Special Assessment District. This time, we'll move on to item 8B, the hearing to receive input on a land and water conservation fund grant to develop Stanley Park address, which is really kind of odd because there's nothing there. 10785 Elizabeth Lake Road, parcel number 12-27-100-014, AKA known as the old former Brendel Campground. I would like to take that in the form of a motion, looking for support to open for public hearing.
Or
I have support from trustee Smith. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Supervisor, under discussion very quickly.
Yes.
And I brought this up before. You have the ability to control the tenor of the entire meeting, and you can actually, by you making the motion, it doesn't give the board a chance. You have 6 other people that may want to say something, and it might be best if you let others of your colleagues make motions instead of yourself.
In the public hearing end, I disagree with you. I'm moving the public hearings along in protocol.
Okay.
And just to open them. There are other things that I've done that, and I've had to prompt people to make motions. So that is why that I do make some of the motions.
It's not really tough to prompt people, but I understand.
But I have had to prompt people. Okay. So that being said, we have motion, we have support. Roll call vote, Mr. Noble.
Trustee Smith,
yes.
Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Powell,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Trustee Ruggles is absent. Trustee Voorhees.
Yes.
Very good. This is again the hearing to receive input on a land and water conservation fund grant, develop Stanley Park. At this time, if there's anyone in the public who would like to have some input, Brian, please take it over.
Yes, we do have one hand raised, 6646. Press *6 on your keypad to unmute, and then say your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, this is Steve Woodard, 953 Schuyler in Lakewood Village. And thanks for the opportunity to speak. I wanted to voice support for the grant application, and also commend the Parks and Rec Committee for doing a robust job of vetting the options and gathering inputs. And I feel through the help of Trustee Powell and Trustee Smith that our voices from Lakewood Village at least have been heard. And we feel like the plan is solid, and we're looking forward to it going forward with the the plan on the map. I will add one comment though. At the last meeting, they suggested that the paving go all the way down to at least the wetland area that heads to the beach. And my concern about the paving is the amount of runoff that potentially would go into Brenda Lake and the Huron River watershed. So I think Kathleen Azeltine from Parks and Rec Committee has been vocal on that. And I would ask that you listen to her, please, because she is actually an expert in the area and on that watershed committee. So that comment also will come back when we have public hearing on the Civic Center development, because all of that area up there is going to drain into Brenda Lake and the Huron River watershed as well. So that's my input, and I appreciate the opportunity to give it.
Thank you. Anyone else at this time?
I just want to also, Steve, as your Parks and Rec liaison, thank you for your comments. And I agree with your comments about Kathleen. So thank you.
Public comment, not board comment. You'll have time at resolution. Any other public input at this time to the public hearing?
Mr. Supervisor, can you reread the reason why we're having the public hearing for the public?
Hearing to receive input on a land and water conservation fund grant to develop Stanley Park.
Thank you very much.
It's the grant application, which is due April 1st.
Okay, if any of the members of the public would like to comment, press *9 on your keypad to raise your hand. There are no hands raised at the moment. *9 to raise your hand.
30-second countdown. Seeing as none, I will make a motion to close the public hearing to receive input on a land and water conservation fund grant to develop Stanley Park at this time. That is in the form of a motion. Looking for support.
Support.
I have support from Trustee Smith. Roll call vote, Mr. Noble.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Powell,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Trustee Ruggles is absent. Trustee Voorhees.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, new business. We will get to the resolutions for those two individual public hearings shortly. New business resolution 21-012 to authorize supervisor to approve a bid from itright for new servers. I would like to turn this over to my exec, Trish Pergaman, at this time, who has done a lot of homework in conjunction with itright to try to remedy some of the problems that we have had at the township lately, and some of you have recently experienced with our system. Trish, please take it over.
Not too long ago, itright came to us and told us that our servers are aging out, and as well that they would like to pull our email into the cloud. But doing that we would do that at a separate step. Right now, we're just talking about the servers, but I wanted to mention that because it's also important. That would help protect us from cyber attacks that you've seen a lot of that going on in the news right now. I did include that quote as well, just because I wanted to make you aware that that's something that we need to look at. But right now, I invited itright to speak on the servers as the technical experts, and as well to explain to us what needs to be done, why they think it needs to be done now, and discuss that and the cost. So I have Ken Young and Tom Conway here.
Hello.
Hello.
So Trish is right on accurate. The average life expectancy of hardware is between 4 and 5 years. We like to start budgeting around 4, but so that between 5 and 6, we're replacing hardware so that we don't have a lot of failures. You have heard a lot in the news in the last 6 months, the Chinese government has been very, very active, especially with the on-premise email server hack that happened just a couple weeks ago. It did not affect the cloud. It only affected on-premise, unpatched servers. It was a 0-day threat that was determined to really not do anything right out of the gate, but did affect all of the servers that were still on premise. Within 2 days, we had everything patched and monitored. We are currently still monitoring that situation just to make sure that nothing is lingering out there. So that being said, is there a way I can share my screen with everyone?
Yes, you should have the ability to share your screen.
Here we go. So now I am not an artist, but I tried to whiteboard this out to kind of show what we were planning for the quote that you have. Can everyone see my screen?
No, we can't see.
There we go. You should see a kind of a whiteboard. Can see that now?
Yes, we can see.
So at the top, you see 7 servers. And right now we have 7 individual servers with 7 individual large programs running on each one. I won't take the time to go through all of them. This last one is the mail server. And what we're proposing to do, instead of trying to buy 7 individual servers and replicate what we have now, we'd like to use some virtualization technology and only buy 2 physical servers. These would host all of the applications that are running on these 6 servers now. And it may be spread out a little bit different than this, but this is just for presentation purposes, where we would run 3 servers on each box. We would take the mail and move that out here to Office 365 in the cloud, which eliminates the need for one of the 7 servers. What this solution will actually do, it's going to be less expensive than trying to buy 7 individual servers, because we're actually running 3 on each set of hardware. But what it also gives us over the old way of doing things is some redundancy. So let's say if the BSNA server goes down for some reason, we can actually run the BSNA server on, and if I number these, like if this is host number 1 and this is host number 2, we could actually run, let's say, BSNA on server 2. We could spin it up down here and eliminate a lot of the downtime that we would have rebuilding one of these individual servers. Of course, all of these servers then would be backed up to our cloud the way it is now as well. Ken, am I explaining all of that correctly? Does that sound, I just want to make sure that from a.
Yeah, that is the gist of it, pretty much, in a kind of low-level explanation, for sure.
Yeah, I didn't want to get into the weeds with technical stuff, but so what we're proposing on doing is replacing 6 physical servers with 2 physical hosts and creating virtual servers within those. And I think everyone has the quote in front of them, which is this. So we would buy the two host servers that would host all of the individual virtual servers within it. We would upgrade the SQL database software at that time to the 2019 version. That would be for BSNA. And really that's the whole project that we're proposing.
Okay, well, this will put us in a better protected state and also allow us to function at a higher speed. Is that correct?
The speeds should increase because we're using different hard drives and we've got better processors, more RAM, yes. The redundancy is going to be the big thing. As far as downtime and being able to recover if something does go wrong, this is going to be much quicker.
I think also it provides us more security because you guys have server 2012 and server 2012 R2 operating systems on your infrastructure, which are starting to age out. They're not quite out of support yet, but they're getting close. And new servers will be on server 2019. The way we quoted this project out provides us flexibility and some scalability. Like Tom was saying, if one of our physical boxes goes down, we can bring another server or two over to the other host for the short term and get you guys up in an hour or two while we get the hardware fixed on the other host.
So it provides some redundancy, which is very important.
Yes, I mean, it's unfortunately not automatic redundancy, but in a matter of a couple hours, we should be able to get you spun up. Say if
backup redundancy.
Yes.
Okay.
So are there any questions for Ken and I? Just
where I was going with that. You might want to go back to a normal screen again.
Okay.
Any questions from the board members at this time? Mr. Roman?
Yeah, I think most of you are aware of the problems that the Treasurer's Department had with our computers locking up when we would use tax. We got to the point where we could hardly function. So my first question for you, Tom and Ken, on a scale of 1 to 10 with these new servers, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest RAM that we could get, where do we fall with these new servers?
Without going overkill, we're probably at about a 7 or an 8.
Okay. Would it make any sense to get more RAM? Can we do that?
All right. So let's circle back to the issues you guys were having with tax. That solution right there, that BSNA tax software, is run on county equipment. So it runs through the internet on county servers. Makes any of our internal infrastructure, i.e. the building department application or the assessing assessing's hosted by the county too, but it makes some of our other applications internally run faster. Those are the issues we were having in your department are applications we subscribe through Oakland County. Now, are those resolved yet? I haven't seen any emails.
Ken, we won't know if they're resolved until next tax season. Our tax season is over. So we really won't know until July. My point is this: if it doesn't cost a whole lot of money to get more RAM, it cannot hurt. And then the second question I had, I noticed there was I think it said VADM server, or was it vAdmin?
vAdmin.
Oh,
no,
okay.
It's VADM. It's for the accounting department uses it for records purposes.
Okay, so they're still using old records from the old software system.
She uses it once in a great while from the last time I talked to her.
Kind of what we talked about earlier today, Mike.
Yep. Thanks, Rick. All right, I'm all set.
There's 196 gigs of RAM per server right now in the quote. It would not increase it that much if we we took it up to 256 gig.
Trustee Smith, I saw your hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. So I don't have issue with the equipment or the plan that you proposed to upgrade the server, but I'd like to talk a lot about the quote. I roughly estimate off the top of my head, it's about $8,000 too high. The server should be, two of them, about 5,200 to 5,500. You've ever so kindly included the serial numbers in the quote, so you can simply Google what this equipment cost, and you've marked it up about, I estimate 35 to 40% in the entire quote. You've also are gouging us on the cost of the certificates and the licenses. You kind of have us over a barrel here because we have to use itright. So I'm in favor of using, upgrading the system. I'm familiar with what you're talking about. I'm familiar with the equipment. I'm familiar with the server that we need to efficiently operate, but I am not comfortable with this quote. I think about $20,000 sounds a lot more reasonable. You're still making a buck off of us, but this quote is altogether too high. And I encourage any and all of my fellow colleagues to simply Google. I'm familiar with this field, but all you have to do is simply Google any of this equipment that they've given on our quote, and you can see the cost for yourself. Like, for example, the super server 6029P is, normal range. I have a whole screenshot if you want me to share, and would be like 1,700, and you're charging us, almost double. So I really want to get into the nitty gritty of the cost. I want to continue working with you. I want to make this work because we need this server. We need this equipment updated, but we need to get this cost in a reasonable range.
Care to retort on that, Tom?
I can tell you that we purchase through distributors that only sell new equipment. I'm Googling it myself. I'm not seeing those costs. Can you find equipment that's the similar somewhere else for cheaper? Probably.
I can show you pages of it.
No, the first link I saw said approximately $1,700, like you said, but that's a bare bones server. That doesn't come with, I don't believe that comes with the RAM chips, the hard drive RAID configurations, the RAID controller, or the processors.
So I'm talking in generalities, which I said, I started with roughly off the top of my head, it's probably about $8,000 too high. And I'm giving you some grace in my ranges here of maybe $5,000-ish instead of $8,000 for the server. So I know, if we get into details and where you're purchasing from, which I'm not familiar, you haven't disclosed where you're purchasing from, so I can't compare apples to apples exactly, but I am familiar with this technology, and this bid is too high. It's definitely, I feel comfortable about 30% marked up.
Okay, Tom or Ken, any comment on that?
We can go back and look at the costs, but we do have to make something on hardware.
Right, I understand. That's why I was saying, maybe we're proposing somewhere more around the $20,000 range instead of the total that I believe is about 27. And I don't hold my feet to the fire, if it's a little less or a little more. I understand you're in business and you're trying to earn a living as well. But I do think that this estimate is a little bit unreasonable. I think we can do better.
We can change processors, we can change internal parts to reduce cost. Microsoft holds us over a barrel too. We're stuck with Microsoft, unfortunately. All I can say is we're not going to force White Lake to buy from us. We would never do that. So if, let's say you wanted to go to Dell and you priced something out similar, all Ken and I would ask is that we could review the the quotes to make sure that the parts that are being used will support BSNA, 6 virtual servers, and provide you the efficiency that you're looking for. And if you do decide to buy a server somewhere else, that's okay with us. We
Yeah,
could
I-
even, we
I
would
want to
even
be
ask
clear,
that you.
Tom, we're not unhappy. I know
Yeah.
I can speak for myself, and I think I can speak, everyone else chime in, please. Nobody's unhappy with itright. We would like to continue with you, and we would like to, I think most, we need this equipment, and we're all aware of that we need an update. But I was just hoping that maybe we can go back from a little bit negotiations, and maybe there can be a meet in the middle, or a little give and take to get this number down.
Yeah, we'll go back and revisit that, but I don't want you to feel like we're holding you hostage to buy hardware from us.
Tom, I don't feel that way.
Okay.
itright's got a good history with the township and has been very serviceable for us. As a matter of fact, in the last year, we've seen an increase in the service and the attentiveness. And I think that we're very happy with what's going on. I mean, there's just always the looking out for trying to, keep the costs as curtailed as possible.
Right.
And when you see equipment that goes through a lifespan, I mean, we buy a truck and we get 8 to 10 years out of it. We don't even get 5 years out of a computer. It's a different perception and persona for this type of equipment. And I do know that the cost of this stuff is not cheap. And I also know that you have operational costs and you need to have your margin in there in order to function, to serve us. So I'm very well aware of that. And I certainly appreciate Trustee Smith being, mindful of what the budgets are and the numbers and things of that nature, of which this board does and takes very seriously. We would like to have you take a look at this. What I would like to do is I'd like to, we need to move on with this because we're sort of sitting on a time bomb. We've already had a few instances that have happened, and I'm not going to say that we, the township, internally staff have the expertise to acquire the necessary equipment, which is why we hired itright in the first place. So I would ask that you could take and look and potentially review your bid. And what I would like to do is I would like to upfront chisel you down and say not to exceed $25,000 and put a motion before the board or see if the board would entertain a motion not to exceed, if we could work that out. Mr. Noble?
Well, since I've been here, we've had email issues, as Treasurer Roman said, with the server. It's overloaded. I had a friend that it's in the computer business came in and said, I said, if we needed to replace this, what do you think? And he's pretty much an expert in the field. And he was right around the ballpark about 75,000 building it on up. Now, do I want to spend that? No, I don't. But I think we need to move forward with this because what Treasurer Roman said during tax time, the system was crashing. I've sent emails out to a few colleagues. They have not gotten the emails. I don't know if they've gotten lost. I don't claim to be a computer expert, but I don't think this is something. I want to be fiscally responsible, but I don't see the bid being excessive. And there is the vendor does stand a chance he needs to make a few dollars, obviously, for their hard work.
Well, in 2 quick comments, probably the number one issue that our help desk deals with on a daily basis are on-premise Exchange servers. It's the nature of an on-premise Exchange server. They do have a lot of issues. They've been known for years to have issues. Most of the time they work as smooth as can be, but if we run into problems, that's usually where it comes from. 2, Ken and I will get together tomorrow morning. We'll get this thing reviewed and get it back to Trish tomorrow so that we can move forward.
Well, what I'd like to do is I want to move this forward. I want to get a not to exceed. Okay. And because I do not want to delay this. Okay. I have to agree completely with Mr. Noble. I would like you to revisit it, but I will entertain a motion from the board. I will prompt one of you out there, Mr. Powell,
I still have discussion, please, Mr. Supervisor. Tom, does that include a warranty? Or can you refresh my, I'm looking through the quote, but I don't see it quickly. So the 25 including warranty?
That's a 3-year warranty on all of our servers with, all of our technicians carry parts with them, especially hard drives. If we have to order parts, we can next day parts in. So you would have parts by the following day.
I would like to also add, Supervisor Cole, I had a discussion with Trustee Powell tonight. We have Nick in our building, who's in charge of our building department, has tablets, and he's out in the field, and that has to transmit here. And he had an innovative way of coming up from pen and paper, which we're antiquated with, and he was unable to get that. So they put a new, I believe, server for that. I think it's important that we get this issue fixed, and I commend Nick for doing so, working really hard and diligent, come up with solutions. I like solution thinking, which he thought outside the box. He got the server they're working on. We still need to tweak it, but with the building season coming up with Mr. O'Neill and Sean in the building department and myself running documents down to Oakland County, we need to expedite these things and get these problems taken care of, because we're sitting on a time bomb right now. For this thing to crash, then we're going to be stuck.
That's very unnerving.
So, Mr. Noble, I agree, and I want to be clear. No, I do not disagree in any way, shape, or form that we need this equipment, and I'm happy with the proposal of the level of service that itright is going to give. I just don't believe we need to pay top dollar. I wouldn't be doing my job as a trustee to not tighten the belt, especially during COVID times, anywhere we can. I think 25. I came in at 20, he's at 27. I think 25 sounds pretty reasonable, Tom.
Unfortunately, Liz, you don't use the technology on a basis, and the board members
I am
and the
super
staff
familiar
do.
with this technology.
And you may be familiar with it, but you
I
don't
am.
use it day to day. So that being said, I can appreciate your
do
concern.
use this equipment day to day.
I can
So
appreciate
I'm Mr.
Liz,
Cole,
you're out of order. You're out of order.
Out of order because I was
Out of order, Liz.
You're
I'm going to call
interrupting
you
me.
out of order.
I was speaking and I wasn't finished, Mr. Supervisor.
You'll
So I'm
never
gonna-
be finished. Okay.
That's-
So my
Well,
point
I'm gonna
is,
finish my conversation. I think that I want to be clear that nobody's objecting to move forward. Nobody's objecting to move forward tonight. I'm simply stating we don't need to pay top dollar, and I'm confident in Tom that he can work on these numbers a little bit and come back to us.
and
So
I'm
I would
sure
be
that he
proposing
will.
25.
However, I do not really want to stall this. I agree with Clerk
Nobody
Noble,
is stalling it.
and I agree with Treasurer Roman. I'd like to move it forward with a not to exceed motion. And Tom and your crew will have to come back. Ken, you'll have to come back and try to see what you can do to sharpen those numbers up.
We can do that.
Okay.
Oh, then
Yes,
I'd like to
Mr.
make a-
Roman. Mr. Roman.
Guys, itright's been really trying to help out my department figure out why we've been freezing up. And I just want to say thanks to those guys. This is a puzzle of all puzzles to try to figure this out. But I will say, they gave us 2 brand new desktop computers, top of the line, and I don't believe they charged us. I'm almost certain
they didn't.
I'm almost certain they gave them to us for free. There's some value for you guys, for whatever that's worth. So, Liz, I didn't feel I was so thankful they gave us 2 free desktops.
Thank you, Mr. Roman, for sharing that with me because I didn't know that. So that is valuable.
And these are some of the day-to-days.
Yeah, but overall, I don't think itright has ever overcharged us, Liz, just so you know.
Okay. Well, I believe that this quote is a little marked up, and so I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I think 25 is a reasonable number.
Okay. I appreciate your input, Liz.
Can I ask a question? Tom, is the life of the server any different now with the a little bit newer technology, or is it?
No, unfortunately, you're still looking at a 4 to 5 year replacement schedule. However, as we get into Office 365 and Azure and some of the cloud functions in the next few years, we may not need to replace all of these servers, and we can move a lot of the load off to the cloud, and it becomes an operating expense instead of a big capital expenditure.
So looking at that right now is just as a question, if we're looking at moving the email into the cloud, that's why we're not including that in this quote. Is there anything else in there right now that could be
Well, I
taking
know-
that route if we went to the cloud?
Well, right now, BSNA is beta testing some cloud hosting. We've been working hand in hand with BSNA to try and vet out all the problems with, it would be like using Facebook or using QuickBooks Online. They're actually looking at hosting BSNA in the cloud. That's not ready yet. We're probably a couple of years away from that being ready. But if that does go the way we're expecting it to go, in 4 years, that could be a viable option instead of buying equipment to host that locally. As well as the cloud will continue to grow as far as being able to host things and the capability of hosting things like GIS and different things like that. Right now, it can't do that because of video capabilities. In 3 years, we don't know where that's going to be. But it's very possible these could be the last servers that we actually purchase.
Progression of technology.
Right.
But then you have other things. You still have licensing fees and things like that.
Right. But then you're not worried about security as much either, because
Right.
Microsoft spends millions on security. We can't spend that kind of money to scale at White Lake Township.
Okay. Mr. Potter, I saw your hand up momentarily.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment really quickly that Tom mentioned GIS. We've been housing GIS data here at White Lake Township since our system came on board in 2017, all in the cloud. And it's been great for us. We've been able to, my operators can access the information from their cell phone equipped laptops. Everything from record drawings to curb box reports to lead reports, all our water and sewer information, all the work order histories, cross connection inspections, confined space entry permits, all goes through that system, all cloud based.
That's wonderful to hear, actually.
Tom is right on the money. I mean, this stuff is moving towards it. We have a server here that we purchased that's also running on 2012 R2. That was purchased with the intention of housing all that data, and now it's already being phased out as we speak. So I like the way Tom's thinking on that, and I just wanted to also comment really quickly that those guys did a very nice job moving all of our stuff over here to the township annex. It was a very challenging project trying to connect this building to that building, and it didn't go without some challenges, but they rose to the occasion and met the challenges very nicely. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Mr. Noble, your hand was up.
Rick, I would like maybe to make a motion that we don't exceed the quote amount, and that gives you the opportunity to renegotiate with itright to compare apples to apples, and then not to exceed exceed that quote, so you can have a little room to negotiate.
Okay, 27,191.23.
And we can move it forward.
Not to
Hey,
exceed.
Just to add on to that, Anthony, and maybe Rick, what you can do is have them throw in some more RAM.
I was thinking the same thing.
Throw some more RAM in there, Mike, for you.
I'm just saying, RAM is a good thing.
Add RAM. And we're not talking.
That's a fair solution. That's a fair proposal.
Okay, awesome.
I still agree with Trustee Smith. I believe it needs to be looked at. We do need to review it. So
Thank you, Mr.
I'm
Supervisor.
going
I
to
appreciate
employ
that.
you that we do look at this quote. Mr. Powell?
Has it been seconded yet?
No, it has not.
I'll second that motion. And then also I have a question while we have IT right here. How much longer before you present something that the fire department or police department are going to need that are gonna be something like this?
Ken, you got your pulse on the police department pretty solid, so.
The police department had a recent server project about a year or two. Fire department, they really run all of their FRMS apps through the county and use file shares on the township domain. So the police department is totally separate. Fire department kind of ties in with the township.
They piggyback. They
Yes.
piggyback.
Yeah, and I seem
Absolutely.
to recall they did new servers a couple years ago too.
Yeah, I want to say it was only a year or two ago. I can get back with the actual install date.
No, that's all right. I just didn't want a surprise next month.
No, we wouldn't do that to you guys.
It's just like the police cars, Mike. They rotate the equipment through. Trustee Smith?
I could be wrong, but just to help Mr. Powell out, I believe that we updated that server sometime close to the time frame that they got body cams because they required more. So it's within the last couple of years.
Okay, thank you.
September 26, 2019.
Go. Okay, we have a motion. We have support by Mr. Powell. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Koa,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman,
Just want to make sure I understand. The motion is not to exceed the 27,191.23.
Correct.
I'm a yes.
Trustee Smith,
And also I want to understand the motion that it's understood that this quote will be gone over a little bit, correct?
Yeah, we'll
Reviewed.
take it back and
Reviewed.
talk to them some more.
Will be reviewed.
Thank you.
as
Yes.
per your great point bringing up, yes. Thank you.
We'll get some more RAM
And authorizing the supervisor to sign the contract.
through the resolution.
Yes. And authorize the supervisors to sign the contract through
We
the
have to approve
resolution.
resolution 21012.
21012. Okay, motion support. You were going through the confirmations there, Mr. Noble?
Yes, trustee Ruggles, absent, trustee Smith,
Yes.
trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
trustee Powell.
Yes.
Motion carries. We'll get our money's worth. Thank you very much. Okay,
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for working with us.
thanks, gentlemen.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, we are now on item, excuse me, under new business. We are now under request to approve agreement between Twin Lakes Village and the township for Twin Lakes Village contribution to the road paving improvement special assessment district. Mr. Roman?
So in this SAD, we had a bit of an unusual situation in that the homeowners association wanted to pay for, I believe it was 13 lots, kind of just kick in money for their share of the improvements. And so the president of the association had received the power to sign this agreement on behalf of their association. This promises to pay us the money, which is $114,122.19 to the township for its contribution to the SAD. We have received that money already. I do have one minor correction on this agreement, and that's just the name of the president. Last three letters are spelled IET. It should really be EIT. But other than that, I'm asking the board to give the supervisor the permission to sign this agreement on behalf of the township.
Okay, Mr. Roman, any comment, questions from the board?
Mr. Supervisor?
Mr. Powell.
Yes, I want to make sure that I'm understanding this and that all the residents watching us and are participating in this meeting and this agreement is that I believe that the township's role is strictly fiscal. Our engineer did not design the improvements. The township did not go out for bids. If it had been a township bid project, we would have had closed bids and at least 3 bidders on it, and we would have selected the most qualified low bid. We would have had the opportunity to review those drawings and to make suggestions on what might have improved the project. Is it my understanding, am I correct, that this is solely the decision of the association and the township is not responsible for any production, any construction, any inspection, and any guarantees?
That is correct.
Thank you.
This is strictly a project of which we are trying to assist them in this process. Okay, Mr. Roman, do you care to make a full-blown motion or?
I believe I did, Rick.
Okay, I'll take that as a motion. Mr. Powell, will you support?
I absolutely will support.
Motion, I have support for the agreement regarding the private road special assessment district for the road improvement project for Twin Lakes. Motion support, Anthony Noble, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles is absent. Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Next item is item C, resolution 21009, confirming the Twin Lakes Village Road paving improvements special assessment roll. Mr. Roman.
So the total assessment roll comes to $1,150,000.53 against 131 parcels. And then, as we've mentioned, the association is kicking in $114,122.19. So the resolution at hand today would confirm the role of the 131 parcels, and I will make a motion to approve resolution 21-009, confirming the Twin Lakes Village Road paving improvement special assessment role.
We'll support that.
That is a motion and has support from Mr. Noble. Is that correct?
Support. Yes, sir. Support.
Okay.
Under discussion?
Mr. Powell?
Want to also ask maybe our council that since this public hearing was made, we did hear a couple people that didn't like the project as a whole, but I did not hear any specifics as to why their particular assessment was irregular or unacceptable, and therefore there was a challenge to the entire project, but not any specifics on the assessment role itself.
So first, let me say that Eric McLaughlin, your bonding attorney who prepared the documents and handled the special assessment, is watching on YouTube and has indicated to me if he's needed to let him know, and he's happy to hop on. I also, we reached out to Ken so that Brian knows that if he does come on, to let him in. That said, the objections are for each individual assessment. So somebody can object to their assessment, and that opens the door for them to appeal their assessment.
I just didn't hear any specific objections to.
I don't believe there was any, Mr. Powell. I think it was just in general. And actually.
Well, I think that their objection was to the amount of the assessment. And I think that
in general, I think the amount was to their own personal assessment, of which actually for the $9,000 some odd dollars, you know it, Mike, and I know it, for what they're doing and the frontage that they have and the project that they have over there. That is not a bad price. And they'll be good for a number of years to come. So generally,
the way we handle our standard resolutions, and I'm looking to make sure, We generally list the individuals who opposed it in our resolutions. I don't see it in this one. I could ask Eric to pop on if you'd like him to come on and answer those questions.
Hey, Lisa, your headset makes you sound like Darth Vader. I don't know if anyone else is hearing that, but
Yeah, I am.
you might. Okay.
It
I mean,
does-
it sounds cool, but okay.
It does it sometimes. Thanks for letting me know.
Much better.
Yep.
You want me to let Eric, you want me to ask him to pop on?
I don't need it.
It just satisfies your question, Mike?
It does.
Okay,
Thank
very
you.
good.
Guys, if Eric is here, he's here anyway. I would be more comfortable if we could get his blessing.
I
Okay,
have no problem with that.
he's coming on. So Brian, if you could let Eric McLaughlin in, please.
Yes, I will keep an eye out for him here.
And again, Lisa, you're saying that possibly we should be listing names of those that opposed the role?
Yeah, we should have,
Okay.
I'm sure they're in the meeting minutes, but we should have tracked and should track those individuals who objected to the SAD for the record.
Okay.
I wrote some names down if that helps.
That can just be added afterward to the resolution then?
Eric is on, so let's give him a minute. Hey, Eric.
Hello.
Eric, the question was regarding in public comment, there were individuals who objected to the amount of the assessment. And usually in our standard SADs, we actually attach an exhibit for those who objected. It's not in this particular resolution, but as long as it's in the meeting minutes that they objected, that's sufficient for our purposes, right?
That's correct.
What is that question?
Okay, I'm satisfied. Eric, we appreciate it. We just want to make sure, we've never done an SAD quite like this. Just want to make sure we're keeping it all right.
Okay, so Mike Roman, you made the motion. Anthony Noble, you supported that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, looking for a roll call vote for resolution 21009.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles is absent. Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Lisa.
Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric, for your input. Okay, and confirmation. Next item is item 9D, which is a resolution 21008 to approve the Stanley Park Land and Water Conservation Fund grant application and matching funds commitment. Any questions or comments from the board at this time? Trustee Smith.
If there's no comments and discussion, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 21-008.
I'll support that. I'll support.
Motion. Where was support from Andrew Voorhees? We have motion and support for resolution 21008 to approve the Stanley Park Land and Water Conservation Fund grant application and matching funds commitment. Mr. Noble, roll call vote.
Trustee Powell,
Absolutely, yes.
Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Trustee Ruggles is absent. Trustee Smith.
An enthusiastic yes.
Motion carries. Item E, resolution 21007 to approve request from Lakewood Village Association for the Goose Nest Roundup for Lake Neva for 2021 through 2026. Mr. Noble.
I think Supervisor Kowal, as you know, that is this time of year. In the past, Lakewood Village Improvement Association requested authorization. It's with the DNR, Department of Natural Resources, to capture the Canadian geese on Lake Neva. They applied for the permits and we're before you tonight to pass this resolution of 21-007.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Supervisor, I noticed this is a 5-year resolution. Do I read that correctly?
Yes, you do.
Yes, you
Thank
do.
you.
The DNR has seen that this has become such commonplace that they are now issuing permits up to 5 years. Okay, because it is such a problem. Okay, Mr. Noble. Oh, Trustee Smith, please.
Do we have anyone from this HOA that needs to be heard this evening? Just double checking.
Does not appear to be
I
so.
don't see anybody.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Noble, did you want to make a motion or make that in the form of a motion?
Yes, Supervisor Cole, I would like to make a motion for the Lakewood Village goose nest / egg destruction and roundup capture for the 2021 through 2026 resolution number 21-007.
Is the motion looking for support, please?
Andrew will support that.
I have support from Andrea Voorhees for the resolution 21-007 to approve request from Lakewood Village Association for goose nest egg roundup for Lake Neva 2021 through 26. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Noble.
Sorry, sir. Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Trustee Ruggles is absent. Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
Yes.
Goosey gander, away we go. Okay. I remember a time when these things used to come before the board and they were very controversial.
Mhm.
And it's gotten to a place where now people are saying, please get them out of my yard. It's unfortunate, but it's just a sign of our times and changes. Item 9F, resolution 21010, declaring local state of emergency to protect the public peace, safety, and general welfare based on the COVID-19. This particular piece comes before you as a action to allow the township and this board to continue, if necessary, remote meetings through August 31st of this year. Certain actions by the state and the COVID and the updates and the limited capacity restrictions would definitely put meetings that we would have in jeopardy of being in violation of the Open Meetings Act. So it was with some reluctance that I would request that this be approved so that we can conduct township business as we have for the last
Almost a year.
Yeah, and continue to move forward. It is not necessarily, I had some discussion with one of my colleagues the other day, and he and I are both in agreement this is not how we want to do things, but unnecessary. Unfortunately, it's a necessary tool that we need to have to continue moving business forward. Any questions or comments from the board at this time?
Just want to make a statement and total support, Mr. Supervisor Kowal, in that we're caught between a Opens Meetings Act issues and this declaration of emergency, and there's no win. The township can't win. And so this is our only alternative short of canceling meetings at the last minute. And so I'm in full support of this.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing. I mean, we did some rough calculations that figured there'd be between 16 and 20 people potentially in a boardroom with the board and potential staff members. And all you'd have to do is have 5 or 6 people of the public walk in at large and we'd be shut down. So it's just a matter of keeping things moving forward. Mr. Powell?
Just a question maybe of our council. Would it be at all possible, and maybe Mr. Potter can chime in as well, would it be at all possible and would it be a conflict of one of the two issues if we had a face-to-face and if somebody came in that made a 26th person, could they be directed to another room that was online and we could have a combination of in-person and online meeting?
So first of all, that would be a logistical nightmare.
Mhm.
But second of all, that's a lot of discussion that's going on among municipal attorneys. We're calling them hybrid meetings. I know a lot of people want to have a lot of communities, frankly, want to have the board in person and require the public to participate remotely. And clearly, if a quorum of the board is present, the Open Meetings Act would prohibit that. Then there was discussion, well, what if we kind of allowed the public to come, but also made it so that they could join electronically and the board is all there? I don't see anything that would hinder that as long as the public could all attend in person if there's a quorum. So to answer your direct question, I think that would be a problem because then you would be excluding somebody from a open public meeting. Could you ask a staff member to go to their office and join electronically? Yeah, you could do that. Not a member of the public.
Not something I want to gamble with.
Also, I mean, also there's discussion. What if you didn't have a quorum of the board in person? Is it then an open public meeting? And arguably it isn't. So then you can require participation. But what happens if you end up with a quorum of the board? Then it's an open public meeting and you can't exclude anybody. So then the logistics of tracking which board members will come. I mean, it's logistically almost impossible for the local government at this point.
Like you said, Mike, caught between a rock and the Open Meetings Act.
Yep. Or a virus in the Open Meetings Act, yeah.
Oh. Will you care to make a motion? Oh,
yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes, Liz.
Just want to quickly comment and compliment my fellow colleagues and board members. It's been a year since we last met in person, and we're doing a great job on Zoom. We've come a long way, and I think we have it down pat. And I just wanted to take a moment to compliment you guys. We're doing great.
So, and merge as well. So
and
yeah.
merge, we couldn't do it without merge. They're fabulous. We absolutely couldn't do it without them. But it has been a year since we've met in person, and if you think back, we have come a long way. And I just want to thank everybody for the patience. Sometimes there's technical problems and we can't always hear each other, but we're doing great. So we can hang in there a couple more months.
So, Mr. Supervisor,
yes, sir.
I move the resolution declaring a local state of emergency to protect the public peace, health, safety, and general welfare called the COVID-19 resolution number 21010.
Support.
We have motion and we have support for resolution 21-010 declaring a local state of emergency to protect the public peace, health, safety, and general welfare via the COVID-19 legacy that we're going to be living with. Mr. Noble, roll call vote.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Trustee Ruggles is absent. Treasurer Roman. Treasurer Roman?
That was a thumbs up.
Okay.
He's muted. Yeah.
I'm a yes.
Thank you, sir. Supervisor Kowal.
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees.
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9G, resolution 21-011 to approve 2021 dust control program. It's that time of year again. Mr. Noble.
Supervisor Kowal on the Board of Trustees. Before you is resolution number 21-011. And that's going to be our Oakland County Road Commission with the county's dust control program known they're going to have 5 applications at a cost of $61,917.41. We have a lot of miles. We have 10.74 miles of gravel road. It gets very dusty. As you know, we have a great relationship. We're lucky to have Ron Falks, County Commissioner. We had some issues on Pontiac Lake Road. He was able to get somebody out from that agency to address them. The thaw's taking place at this time, so they are very swamped at this point in the year. But this motion allows the dust to be contained with this chloride solution, I believe is what they use on the road.
Calcium chloride.
Calcium chloride, sir.
Okay, is that in the form of a motion?
Yes, sir. I would like to make a motion to accept motion 21-011 for the dust control program through Oakland County Road Commission.
I'll absolutely support that as someone who loves a good dirt road and who lives off a dirt road.
We have motion and support. Mr. Noble, roll call vote.
Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
Trustee Powell,
Yes.
and Trustee Ruggles is absent.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, so we will have a little less dust. And if you recall, some of you may or may not, if we have new members of the public out there that are watching this board meeting, it was a few years back when the township board decided to go from 4 applications to 5 applications because of the extent of the dust and our season. And I will say it has made a difference. We do have some areas that are more problematic than others. And Mr. Noble, you hit it on the head. Pontiac Lake Road is a problem child, but hopefully in the future we'll be able to remedy that as time and money allows. So, okay, item H is the add-on to the agenda. That will be the discussion for the new deputy treasurer's position. And for that, I will turn this over to Mr. Roman.
Thanks, Rick. Yeah, my deputy treasurer, Lisa Reeser, recently announced her retirement. She served our community here in White Lake Township for 20 years. She's one of the most well-respected tax experts in Oakland County. Just an incredible woman. In 8 years, I don't think I've ever seen her come in late. And I've had to ask her to go home sick. Just total dedication by Lisa, and I want to give her my best wishes and so many thanks for everything that she's done for the treasurer's office and for the residents of White Lake Township. In the search for a replacement, guys, I'm looking for a candidate that possesses a very unique skill set that includes extensive experience with spreadsheets and the general ledger, as well as the tax, as well as the assessment software. All those things are used to balance and keep our tax roll in place. And so my lead candidate has that skill set and is interested in joining our team here in White Lake Township. This candidate has 10 years of experience working in another treasurer's office within Oakland County, about the same size as White Lake Township. The treasurer's position was designed so many years ago with a step-up scale, starting wage year 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't really think that applies these days to the treasurer's position. Unless you were hiring really an entry-level type of a person. But with the board's permission, I'd like to offer this deputy treasurer position to this candidate at the current 3rd year base wage figure of $66,469. And that's comparable to this candidate's current salary. I did include the wage scale as well as the administrative policies and procedures that gives the board the authorization to start this person at that salary. Are there any questions that I can answer?
Mr. Powell.
Yes, and I want to make sure that after this person is here for 1 year, this person jumps to that 4th year level, correct? In your reading?
That's correct.
Okay, wanted to make sure that was the case. And Treasurer Roman, can you tell me what the proposed vacation schedule is for this person? I mean, not schedule, but quantity.
Yes, so for a new employee, in the first 6 months, I believe they either get 2 or 3 days vacation. And then, Mike, I think after 6 months or a year, it jumps to 10 days.
I would personally like to consider, my colleagues consider changing that 2 or 3 days for 6 months for a family person. Quite frankly, doesn't make sense today. That should go up, and then there ought to at least be 3 weeks after that 6-month period in order to function properly as a modern family.
Mike, I think your comments are great, and I think your comments are really part of a bigger issue.
Yeah.
And I know I've talked to Rick about it, and I believe we're all on the same page that it's really time to sit down and look at the whole salary benefit structure of the township, really for everybody. And so I appreciate that comment, and I agree.
And Mike, there will be some addressing of some of these issues in the future. One of the things that I strongly feel is that a deputy's position is essentially an appointed position. It is not necessarily a position that if you came into work in planning or you came in to work in assessing or water, doesn't matter, pick a department. Pick any department that you come into, you eventually over time have the ability to build your career throughout that scale. In a deputy's position, you may have an illustrious career of 20 years, or it might be 4. So I don't believe that we have been looking, or that we should look, especially with the talent that we're trying to attract in our community. We're seeing that the talent market for people that have these particular skills, and believe me, this is a skill set, Mike.
You bet.
I've sat down with and talked to Mike about this. This is a skill set.
You bet.
And you're not going to let a rookie engineer come in and design a septic field that is one of the ones that you're looking at scratching your head. And that's the best way that I can equate it to your industry. So we need to take a look at this in its entirety and potentially put it under just one basic wage scale. So the deputies would be under a wage scale, period. And then that would run from there. And then we can address any of the potential fringe benefit or vacation days. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I do not like the way that our system is set up at the township, in particular when we have new hires that come in. We have people that have come in, they've been very good employees, and at the end of the first year, they have very little time to do anything with their families. We need to take and review that, and these will be things that I've already started discussions with Kathy DeRocher regarding potential policies, procedures, and some revisions of classifications and wage scales throughout the entire township in its entirety, just to put us more at par and to just take and do a quick check as to where we stand and how we're functioning.
Just as a point of, I have always, and I've been blessed my life, but I have always put my personal and my private time and my time off means more to me than the money, quite frankly.
Well, we know that.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, we know that, Mike.
So I want the people in the township to be able to experience that same thing as much as we can.
The rest of us are just jealous.
Yeah.
Are you going to share with us where you're going to be in 2 weeks, Mike?
You'll find out.
Yeah. See, there you go. That's what I'm talking. Mr. Noble.
Yeah, I'd like to think, I know I've just gotten here on November 20th, but have viewed and witnessed how hard Lisa works, and she's going to be a hard person to replace. And statutorily under MCL 41.77, it's a shall. And that shall for Mike or myself to find, a replacement such as Lisa and Bill Bullard is a very hard task. It's a difficult task. And, it's only successful by the people you surround yourself with. And Mike's been surrounded by a very hardworking person in that role. I concur on the salary. I want it to move forward so he's able to obtain that person. And then we can, as Supervisor Kowal said, because they are different positions, as you stated, Mike. We could be here for 4 years, we could be for 8, but when we leave, that person's job's gone. So it is, you know, it's a different level of job, and we want to retain. We have a hard time retaining police, firemen, and with the economy, or I'm sorry, with the way the world is right now, it's hard to get people that want to come into the public sector, or public sector right now. So I agree with those comments.
Thank you.
I have a
Okay.
question.
Yes.
Sure. I'm not saying I'm not in agreement with this, Mike, but Mike Roman, sorry, but there is a wage increase difference where it, once again, our role as a trustee is fiduciary. Where do you plan on pulling that difference? It's about approximately, if I did the quick math, it was like $8,000 difference.
I'm not sure I understand the question, Andrea.
Where there's a difference in what you're paying the current deputy versus what you want to do with the current one, the new one.
Correct. So I'm going to pay the new deputy less than what the current deputy is being paid.
Am I looking at the wrong number then? I could.
Hey,
Oh,
so
I'm
Andrea-
sorry. I'm looking at the wrong line. I'm sorry. Okay, my fault.
Okay.
I was looking at the wrong line.
Okay, I see a $4,350 difference between tier 3 and 4, which is less than our current deputy, correct?
Yeah, that was totally my fault. I was looking at the wrong line. I'm sorry.
I think what we're trying to do, you guys, is get the deputies up to par, retain talent. I have no problem with this. My deputy comes with 32 years of municipal experience. I'm for Mike getting the talent he wants because we need to move forward. He's saddled, especially I got to see it firsthand during tax season. He worked late hours. He was here early. His staff was, with the computer crashing. I mean, you hear about these things, but when you experience it and you see it live, I think it brings it to a realization. And I'm for moving this in the right direction.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I apologize. I was looking at the wrong line, so I apologize, Mike.
Okay.
No
Trustee
problem,
Smith.
Andrea.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I just wanted to say I'm happy for you, Mike. This is a hard position to fill, so I'm really happy for you that you've found somebody that you feel you can depend on and will be a quality partner with you. And that is a close personal working relationship, so you need to be able to depend on that person. So I'm glad that you have found such a qualified candidate to join us here at White Lake. So I'm sorry to see Lisa go, but I'm looking forward to welcoming our new addition.
Thanks, Liz.
At this time, Mr. Roman, would you like to make a motion?
Motion asks the board to approve the third year salary for the new deputy treasurer.
I have a motion.
I'll
and
second it.
I have a second by Anthony Noble to support the deputy treasurer's position at a third year starting salary of $66,469. I have motion, I have support. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Colwell,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles, absent. Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Powell,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Trustee Smith,
Yes. Yes. Do you hear me?
yes, I got you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay. Thank you. Moving on to old business. This will be the second reading of the fee ordinance, the water and sewer system. We have gone over this several times. And I believe through this last revision, we have now set it up so that the increase that the board has approved based upon the studies that were done and the changes that are coming into our water department, our expansion and our needs for continued maintenance, we will have a rate increase beginning in the first, I believe, of October. Is that correct, Mr. Potter?
That is correct.
Okay. Any questions at the board members at this time? Anything else? Miss Lisa Hamami, counsel.
Just to clarify for the record, you've already you considered this at first reading. A notice of consideration was published in accordance with the statute. You considered this at second reading already, but the one you considered at second reading and approved had needed to be cleaned up a little bit because of the change you made at the meeting. Right. So the township did not publish the notice of adoption and considered it not adopted. And that's why you're looking at the second reading again and showing you the red lines from what you approved at second reading the last time it was up. And as you can see, it's not changing substance. It's merely cleaning up so it's a little clearer. Once this is approved, we'll publish the notice of adoption and then it will be effective.
Housekeeping, as you would say.
That's great. Yes.
Very good. Any questions from the board? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Powell.
Mr. Supervisor, I move the approval of the White Lake Township Ordinance Number 129 fee ordinance update as presented.
For water and sewer system revised.
Yes.
I have motion looking for support. Support from Mr. Mike Roman for the second reading and adoption of the fee ordinance for the water and sewer system. Roll call vote, Mr. Noble.
Supervisor Kowal,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Treasurer Voorhees,
Yes.
Trustee Powell,
Yes.
and Trustee Ruggles is absent.
Carries. Thank you very much, everyone. I just want to do a real quick FYI. As all of you know, as in everything else has been in chaos in the last year, our Dublin Community Center, of course, has been closed to its seniors, one of our greatest assets in our community. I am now in the process working with Kathy Gordonier and Carol Keel to try to come up with some sort of a soft start, safe start program. We're going to continue looking into this. We have to make sure that we are in compliance as much as possible, but we feel that the socialization of our seniors is extremely important, and we need to try to get some hope or sense of normalcy back to them. So I will keep you posted, but I want to let you know that it has kind of come to the top of the barrel, and the Senior Advisory Council met on March 1st, and they were very concerned about trying to move something forward. And of course, their concern, of course, is the safety of the seniors too. But they wanted to make sure that, the board was aware of it. And I assured them that we were, and that we'll work diligently, the township work diligently to keep in compliance with the law and try to do what we can as soon as possible. So that was my little FYI for you to let you know that. Trustee comments at this time. Andrea Voorhees, we'll start with you.
Okay, very good. I just want to thank the board for all their support of the Stanley Park. It'll be a fun adventure. And I just want to congratulate Marie Carlock. She just passed her 15 years as a Parks and Rec liaison. And she signed on for another 3 years. Her landscape architectural background is one of the reasons I love having her on Parks and Rec. And as always, everyone be safe and be happy.
Very good. Trustee Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I was muted. I apologize. Just a very quick library update. They are still in phase 3 per executive order, which is quick browsing, in-person and phone reference assistance, computer availability by appointment, 24-hour Wi-Fi in the parking lot, curbside service continues, virtual and take-home programs, and drive-up book return. Their board is still meeting virtually, and all that information can be found and is regularly updated on the library website. I wanted to mention that our very own White Lake VFW Post 4156 is hosting a St. Patrick's Day dinner on tomorrow, St. Patrick's Day, from 4 to 7 p.m. The prices are reasonable, $10 for adults, $8 for seniors, and I believe it's $6 for 4 and under. It's delicious. I get it all the time. Please go out and support them if you're able. They too have had to have a lot of their events canceled, just like everybody else this year due to COVID. So, and I believe St. Pat's fish fries are back as well. So that's just some things that you can do to support our community. In the meantime, I want to mention that it's Women's History Month, and I so enjoy making White Lake history with my colleague, Andrea Voorhees. And I hope that we make our predecessors and successors on this board proud, the work that we do here for White Lake. So I'm very pleased that Andrea and I have this opportunity to work together for several years and just take a moment to honor each other and Women's History Month. I want to second Trustee Powell's comment and would very much like the opportunity for all of our board members to make motions. It's appropriate for the board to make motions. Sometimes it is appropriate for the supervisor to make a motion, but it is a great flow if our board can have that opportunity to have a little bit more discussion and make motions when we're ready instead of the agenda moving so quickly with the supervisor making motions. And then I just want to end with such cheers, hats off to all of you, hard work, and all of the committee members from Parks and Rec. Job well done on getting our grant process going. It's so exciting. I have been there a couple times this week with the break in the weather. I've seen people there enjoying the park already. Couldn't be happier for our community with that going. And Mr. Powell and I very much enjoyed working with the Parks and Rec Committee and our staff planner to get that going. So I'm very excited. And I want to congratulate everyone. Everybody had a hand in it. It was a collaboration, excuse me. So thank you to everyone, and stay safe tomorrow for St. Patrick's Day. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I want to thank each one of my colleagues on the board. You all constantly amaze me at your insight and your professionalism. Liz surprised the heck out of me tonight with her expertise in computers, and I want to thank you, Liz, personally for bringing that up. I think that was very wise. Maybe just a suggestion, and I don't know if Trish is still on, but maybe as a suggestion, when we have professional recommendations and they're supplying their recommendation and the hardware and the product, maybe administration can get a third independent professional review of that to bring it to the board so that we can be assured that there isn't maybe some additional items that could be added to the quote. Also, I'd like to thank Mr. Steve Woodard for from Lakewood Village for his hard work with the committee and his personal attention to the issues. I think he personally did a lot to smooth out the relationship between the Lakewood Village people and the Park and Rec Committee and this board. So I wanted to thank him for that. And again, I want to thank this board for all our professionalism and our staff. Thank you. Without the full-time staff, this board would be in a world of hurt. And I want to thank each one of them. So thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you. Mr. Roman.
Thanks, Rick. I want to thank Janine Smith for all her help on the Twin Lakes Road SAD. Between Janine and I, boy, up until the last second, we just kept working on this, changing it, but in the end, we got it right. And so thanks a million to Janine for all of her help. I'd like to thank all of our residents for tuning in today and staying in touch with our township. And then finally, just want to wish Lisa Reeser again a happy retirement, and thanks for 20 years of great service.
Very good. Mr. Noble.
I would just like to thank Lisa Reeser as well for 20 years dedicated service to White Lake Township and the residents of White Lake Township. Again, she'll be missed, and I want to thank her. And I'd like just to thank the board for all their hard work and working together to on all the issues that are before us. And everybody out there, stay safe.
Very good. I would like to thank everyone. And if I drop off suddenly, it's because my battery is going dead. But at any rate, I'd like to thank everyone for their passion and their commitment for the community. You know, we may have our differences and we have differences of opinion in the way that we approach things, but I think we all have a common goal. That's it's always reassuring to know that, you know, the expression "one team, one fight" essentially is the way to go through these days, especially now because we're battling more things than we can actually physically see. So I certainly appreciate that. So thank you for your passion, thank you for your service, thank you for your commitment. And I thank everyone out there in the great township of White Lake Township. With that, I say good night, God bless, and looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Go ahead.
Motion
Support.
adjourned by Andrea, support by trustee Smith. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Cowell,
Yes.
Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Powell,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees,
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles is absent. Clerk Noble, yes.
2 hours and 4 minutes, ladies and gentlemen.
Pretty good.
Have a great evening. Thank you. Good night.
Great evening.
Thank you. Good
everyone.
night.
Thank you, everyone.
Night.
Bye.